to another episode of Anékdota. I am Angeles and this is Aida.
Hello.
Today we have a very magical topic, I want to say. Aida, do you want to share what we're going to be talking about today?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Thanks, Angeles. How's it going? Thanks for joining us today. Today's topic
Mm.
is the magical calling, where we are sharing our magical stories, Angeles' stories, and my story, on how we came across this magical teachings, these teachings of ancestral magic and spiritual growth and expansion of consciousness. So we wanted to share with you guys, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people that will relate to our story. And so anyway, so what do you want to start with? Where do you want to begin?
I kind of want to hear about your story first because I think I mean we both have a very unique story, I think, but I want to start with your story. I think it's pretty cool the way you started and and everything, how it all unfolded because it just unfolds, right? It's just something that happens so magical. So share
It's super magical, yeah. Super magical. Well, it all started
with
back like maybe 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, or something like that. Where I just logged into YouTube, and I wasn't listening to any, well, normally I would listen to English podcasts, right? And nothing relating to magic or anything like that, just podcasts. Then all of a sudden, I'm scrolling through, just to see what I was gonna watch for the night before I went to bed. And this video pops up, and it's in Spanish. And I didn't know, there were two hosts and the guest speaker. But I recognized one of them because from like a 90s or early 2000s TV show, Mexican TV show, but I didn't recognize the other two people. But it caught my attention because it was in Spanish. And again, I wasn't listening to any like Spanish podcasts or content in YouTube, at least. And so I was like, oh, I didn't know this guy had a podcast, and I read the title, and it had something about the power of the word, something like that. It caught my attention, and I'm like, okay. And then in Spanish, that's weird, that I'm getting a Spanish video. So I started watching it, and the information this guy, the guest, was sharing, just completely caught my attention. Like the power of the words and like all these things that just blew my mind. I got up. I was already in bed, just getting ready to fall asleep because that was no that was my routine, just finding a video just to fall asleep. And I got up, I grabbed a notepad and a pen and started taking notes, and I was rewinding. I don't know if rewinded is the
yeah.
actual word we use nowadays, rewind, or just, well,
No, I'm kidding.
it reminded me of like, the VHS tapes rewinding. But anyway,
Yeah.
that was good,
You were going back and forth from the video.
back of there you go. That's what I meant to say. And on the video, because it was so freaking interesting to me, like the stuff that was coming out of this guy's mouth was just like a huge thing to me. And the way he was sharing in his passion, the way he spoke about it and his conviction on that. And something just clicked in my mind. And I was captivated. I was like, okay, this guy's onto something. I don't know what he's into, like what he's smoking, but I want some of that too. And no, seriously, I'm like, I can barely understand, half of the words that he's saying, but this is super interesting. So I watched it again. I seriously watched it that night, maybe like 3 times, taking different like notes, and I I mean I got like
Wow.
so into it, you know, just doing my own little diagram and trying to figure, you know, trying to make some sense out of what I was listening to.
Yeah.
And then he said, he's like, yeah, you know, at the end of the episode, he's like, yeah, you know, I'll have this workshop, and you know, it starts this, you know, next week or in a couple weeks, whatever. You know, join it. And I started going like at it. I mean, I started being, you know, just stalking him. Like, okay, I want to know more about this guy. You know, what is he into? What is he talking about? What is this information that he's sharing? And this guy, of course, is my magician, Eder Campos, whom I love. I absolutely adore for who he is, first of all, and for the all the information that he shares. And anyway, that was just my little note out to him.
That is
And
so amazing.
yeah, I love him. And yep, sure thing. I mean, I enrolled in the course and the workshop, and it just completely blew my mind. It completely blew my mind, the stuff that he was sharing, you know, the power of the word, what magic truly is, you know, that it's not the illusionist thing, you know, that we see the bunny coming out of the hat, or, you know, things like that. And it completely changed my perspective. It complete about magic and what magic truly is. And I just landed in this amazing community, you know, got me to magical people like you, Angeles, and magical people like, you know, Sandy and Valeria slash Shomara slash many other names. And, you know, like all the people that, you know, we've created community with, you know, and a true friendship with,
I-
to, you know, Hasa, Jonathan, Juan Carlos. I mean, like all these people that to me have been mentors in a lot of ways, more than just ancestral magic. So, well, that's how I came about. That's how
Yeah.
I got here. That's how I started opening up about all these teachings and embracing magic in my everyday life. That's a short story. I mean, I have a longer version, but okay, now your
But
turn.
I do have some questions
Oh,
about the
okay,
short
okay, okay.
version.
I'm like, okay, passing the buck. I'm like, okay, you go.
No, I want to know more.
You're interviewing me. Okay.
So I'm curious, had you taken any other courses before this or any other workshops before Código de Magia?
About magic? No.
No.
So my spiritual journey, just to give it a name, began my spiritual awakening or my expansion of consciousness began years earlier, a couple of years earlier than magic coming into my life. And it was due to well, a few things. I mean, and here's part of my personal story. I had been diagnosed with depression like 20 some years um, before, so like in, I don't know, late 90s, and it was chronic depression. So I was taking, you know, antidepressants, seeing psychologists, psychiatrists, trying all kinds of stuff, you know, just to get over the depression that I was going through. And one day, a friend of mine who knew about, you know, this thing that I had, she's like, hey, you know what? Try this therapy. I don't know what kind of therapy this is, but it works. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it, but it works. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. You know, I'll give it a shot. I mean, I've tried so many things, you know, like I said, psychiatrists, psychologists, all kinds of things. I mean, I was just like, uh, I wanted, I wanted to get over that depression that had lasted for so long that I was willing to try anything. So I came across Blanca, whom, I've talked about and I've mentioned in earlier episodes. And I started therapy with her. She was a psychologist, but she also knew about energy. And she started using both approaches on my therapy. And it was amazing. It was amazing. She had, I mean, well, I don't know if it was her, she would say no, that it was all me, that it was all the work that I did, but it was due to her companionship and guidance that I was able to get through that depression, 20 plus years of depression. And so I started learning, like after taking my own therapy, I started learning about working with energy. So I was a couple years into that, or maybe like a year and so into that, when magic came into my life. And at that point, it was just like it tied everything up. It helped me make a lot more sense out of the energy work that I had performed in myself, and the energy work that I was learning about, and the energy work that I was about to doing others. So
Oh,
it came in at a moment, like a very crucial moment in my life. And I I think I created that algorithm that actually got that video at that time, and at that moment in time, because it was in
wow.
the right time. It was the perfect time for me.
Wow, how magical.
It was magical, totally
And
magical.
then after you took Código de Magia, you were just like, okay, I'm just gonna continue with this.
Yes. Yeah, the minute I took Código de Magia, I I was hooked. I mean, and I was hooked not like a drug, but I always just wanted to learn more and more and more about it. And I started doing my own researches and started applying it to my own sessions, in my own sessions, and started sharing with others. I started incorporating all these teachings into the sessions that I started doing in others, and just being that companion or guide, with others going through the same, or well, not the same processes, but just going through a process.
Mhm.
And I just started learning more about it, got really involved in the community. And that's something that we've talked about. Like, I felt like I belonged there because of all this openness that I found within the community. And I've made a lot of great friends, and that are in the same, like, in the same context. And I'm just really grateful for myself, to myself, for had given me the chance to experience this.
Oh, how beautiful. I love it. I love it. It's so it's so magical, right? How things just unfold themselves in our lives. How when we're ready to see certain things, they just come to us, right? So I feel like you had been working on it, for some time already, and how open you were to it that it just came to you a year later. So that's so magical.
No, and the way, I mean, it blew my mind. Like afterwards, like a few months later, when I started, like, well, how did I get here?
Mhm.
Like, how I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, oh yeah, it was that one episode, that one podcast that stood out, because it was in Spanish, when I wasn't looking at Spanish or viewing Spanish content. Not
Oh,
because I didn't want to, it was just easier for me to do a search in English. So I just, and then it popped up, and I'm like, okay, it had to be that way in order for it to catch my attention.
wow. Yes. Yes.
So it's those synchronicities that, guide us to, like, all this magical, to get that guided me into this magical journey.
Hmm, hmm.
that I've been experiencing this past few years.
That's so beautiful. It's so magical. I love it. I
Thank
s
you. Thank you.
and then it amazes me because then later on, after gathering all of this information, you created your own workshop, which it was just like all these things that just came to you at the point where you were ready, to unfold and to see all of this ancestral magic and information and how you can put it all together in a workshop. So it's so magical the way it happened and so beautiful and so natural as well,
Ye-
right?
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, I just followed my instinct,
Your
instinct,
intuition.
my intuition. Yeah, I did. It was just like all of a sudden, like, I mean, I've shared this story with you that I was like, oh, well, I mean, I can combine, the graphic design background that I have with this magic, da, 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 da. Started doing more research, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna create a workshop. And I just started later on, like I've also shared with you, I learned that I was actually channeling that workshop. And it wasn't like until, I mean, just like a couple months ago that I finally it finally hit me like, oh well, I mean, I channeled that workshop and I wasn't even aware, you know. But it's that
We're like, wait a
interest.
minute, I didn't know I could channel.
Exactly, I didn't even like a channel, but we all have different ways of channeling, and my way was just like just getting up and just spending, tons of hours until very like super late at night, just and it was just something in me that had to create that workshop.
Yeah.
I didn't even question myself why. I just did it. It was weird, but it was beautiful. It was
Yeah, it
beautiful.
is a beautiful workshop. I love it.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that is
Yeah,
so
that's my story, you guys. In a few minutes.
that is only in a few minutes because it is a lot more than that, and, I think we could spend hours talking about it, and we have spent hours talking about it. Every time let me tell you guys, every time we're about to create an episode, we spend, like, 6 hours talking about it before we create the episode, which is I enjoy a lot, to be honest.
Me too.
I enjoy your company a lot. I enjoy having long conversations with you a lot. I learn from you so much all the time. Um, and I am so grateful for your time, for your energy, for your presence in my life. So thank you, Aida, for everything that you have done for me.
No, thank you. Thank you for opening up to my madness and nonsense sometimes, and but thank you. Thank you, thank you. And
Yeah,
thank you guys, everyone that, that has crossed my path is, I mean, I value a lot because they have shown me a lot of things about myself that I didn't know, that I wasn't appreciating. So thank you.
yeah. You're such a beautiful person. So
Mm.
thank you
Mm.
for sharing your beautiful energy with all of us.
Oh, thanks. I'm like, excuse me. Okay, now your turn. Now you need to share yours.
Yeah.
You threw that bug at me. I'm like, okay, no, bug back to you.
Our stories are very similar. Um, I was sharing it with you earlier how I think I was already meditating for the past 5 years before 5 or 6 years, no, 5 years, before I came across magic, right? And also I came across Eder Campos through this YouTube video that I saw too. I was telling you earlier that I was remembering how we finished dinner and I was just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna wash the dishes. And every time I was like washing dishes and things like that, I would put a podcast or something to listen to or a book, an audible book. something like that. And this time I was like, I'm just gonna open YouTube and I want to listen to something in Spanish, right? And I opened it, and for some reason I just kind of scrolled down on just a little bit, and this video came across to something about that had to do with the word as well. And I thought it was interesting, and so I clicked on it, and then I it just kind of I left it right there to the side. I started washing the dishes, and as soon as he started talking, and like he started talking about all of these things about the word and the power that the word has in our lives and things like that, something within me, like the more I was listening to his voice and what he was saying, it was just so weird. And I think if he listens to this episode, it's the first time that he's gonna that he's gonna know
It
this.
gets creepy, you guys. Ah, just kidding.
No, but it was
Not
just
in a creepy way. I take that back.
it was just something really weird because I have never experienced that with someone else, where someone is talking and it was just like something emerging out of me, like this feeling that it was just so weird to me. And I had to stop washing dishes and I had to look at the video and I was just like questioning myself, like, why does this guy make me feel like this? What is it? What is he saying? So then I started paying attention to the entire video. I completely stopped washing the dishes and I pay attention to the entire video. And he was just kind of like, okay, whatever he's saying is making a lot of sense to me, but it's also confusing me at the same time.
I
I was
get the
like,
same
this is
feeling.
so weird. And the feeling that I was having the more that I was like listening to him. So as soon as the video finished as well, he said, "I'm gonna have the workshop. Well, if anybody who wants to join, we'll be starting in two. I think he said 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks." So I had never in my life ever taken a workshop. As soon as that video ended, I enrolled myself on that workshop. And I was just kind of like, why am I doing this? Like, this makes no sense. Like, I never even done anything like that. So
Did
I,
you do, let me, I have a question.
yeah,
Sorry. Did you do any research? Like, did you start like looking around like social
nothing.
media? Nothing. I did. I mean, I went on like freaking stalking mode. And yeah, I mean, I went to all the social media accounts and, just went to the page and read. I'm like, is this guy legit? I mean, I did. Because
I
of the same
didn't.
thing, I'm like, okay, where is he getting all this info from?
Right.
Something just makes
I
sense.
didn't. I just went to his website and I paid for the course and that's like totally not me. Like I always do research. I always kind of go and be the stalker and like exactly is this guy legit? Exactly. But no, not this time. It was just like something within me like that told me like that's the way. And it was just really weird. I can't even explain you that feeling that I had when I was listening to his voice. I enrolled into the course, and the more so 3 weeks later, 2, 3 weeks later, I was like ready to go on the course, and I was like, and I'm gonna participate. And I'm not a participant usually. So I was like, this time I'm gonna participate and I want to know exactly what he's talking about, what he's saying. The more he would go on the course, the more confused, but at the same time, the more I wanted to know more about it. I was just kind of like, there's something here that I can't quite understand, but this is calling me. And it was him, but then at the same time, it was something else, something I couldn't explain. So then I was like, we finished the entire course, and then at the end of the course, he talks about how he's a psychoanalyst, and he was just like, whoever needs my services, I'm here to help you, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, as soon as he said that, and as soon as we ended the course, I texted Robert, and that was Robert back then, and I was like, Robert, I need an appointment with him. I I was like, there's something like I need to talk to him. And Robert was so sweet. He was like, yeah, of course. So let's get you on the schedule, blah, blah, blah. So I started my therapy with him a week after I ended, and I have never stopped my therapy with him, and I don't think I ever will. But unless he tells me, okay, this is enough, Ángeles. Um, but it was just very magical because every time I speak with him, it's like that feeling that there's something that I'm unveiling, something that I'm uncovering, and it's just like I want more, more, and more, and more. And every time or every month when we log into Código de Magia, it's like those feelings come to the surface again, you know? And it's interesting to me because I had never experienced anything like that with anybody else. Um, and it's probably sounding weird to people, like, okay, like, but
Mm,
seriously, it's just really, I think that information is what is it keeps bringing me back or drawing me back towards his teachings. I wouldn't say towards him, it's towards the teachings and towards the information that he shares, and how he shares, and how I'm able to comprehend the information and how he explains it, that it's easy for me to digest, because this is not information that it's because I've heard from others that, oh, I've took courses with Jose Luis Paris or whatever, and they thought it was very complex and things like that. And for me, it was just very natural and magical because I completely connected with him. And it's he has become someone very important in my life and in my journey, and we were just talking about that. Like, feel that after I close a cycle in my life, like he came and opened a new cycle in my life, and it's just kind of like, wow, how there's people that come into our lives to open these new cycles and all the magic that they bring, because if I would have never listening to him, I would have never met you. I would have never met a lot of the people that I'm surrounding myself with nowadays, and I would have not had the knowledge that I have now in regards to ancestral teachings, magic, and all of these things that we study every week and that we go in depth to these topics, and to
mhm,
be honest, that they're not so openly out there for everyone. Um, and somehow I feel like somehow magic found us, like when we were ready. And it's just so magical how it happened for you, how it has happened for me, and how we see that it happens for others also in the community.
mhm. I love that, what you're saying about how magic, found us. Yeah, because I get that feeling too. It's like, okay, I'm ready. I mean, it's like, okay, she's ready for me. I'm gonna present myself to her for
Mhm.
her to actually like meaning me, her meaning me, like, for her to actually embrace me.
Yeah,
Yes, magic came in at the perfect time,
yeah,
and I have truly embraced it and adopted it as a life philosophy,
yeah,
the philosophy of life, for sure. Definitely.
yeah, definitely. And I think magic comes into our life when we're ready to unfold um the full essence of what magic truly is. Because there, like you just said earlier, there's a lot of misconception of what magic is. And we have lost throughout the years and throughout decades and history the the truth of magic and how it lives within us, and we're just not aware of it, and that's why we get lost on the way. We get lost in our lives, and it's just so it's so magical how when magic comes in to your life, it all starts making sense. And it just kind of you just realize like, wow.
Yeah, it may sound redundant, to say how magical magic is, but I mean, there's really, I mean, I can't see any other way to explain it. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? That it is a magical way on how magic presents itself
Mhm.
and how like all these magical moments that unfold once we allow magic into our life.
True. Yes. So I think when we're ready is that when the information comes to us, right? Or how would you say it?
I think so too. I think so too, because perhaps if I would have encountered this type of teachings, maybe a month earlier or a couple years earlier, I wouldn't have given it the value
Mhm.
that it actually has,
And we
and
have seen that too on the community,
yep. Hmm.
where people are just kind of like, give me the 1 through 5 steps.
What we were talking
Like
about yeah,
magic.
during our last episode. Yep, it's not a choreography.
Yeah.
No.
Without understanding that it is you who makes your own recipe of magic. And I think that's where people get lost or
They
they
get
get
discouraged, maybe, you think?
I yeah, maybe I don't wanna say discouraged because I don't even think it's discouragement. I think it's more like they get disappointed, like mad, like, "Oh, like this is just."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how I've seen it, like, "Oh, like you're not giving me the answer." And it's like, there's no answer.
Like
The answer
frustration.
is within you. Like, how can I explain that? Like, I can't my recipe doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. Um, and it's just really
So do you think that's when the disciple, like we would call it, it's not ready? Or is it because they had different expectations? Or what do you think? Why do you think that is?
I think we're so accustomed to get things fast and easy.
So that's going back to the last episode where they, like a lot of people don't want to do the work.
A lot of people don't want to go within and
Oh,
go to
and
the
that's the work I was
profound
going to. Hmm.
parts of us, of each one of us individually. Like, I don't want to dig deeper because the deeper that I go, the more that it hurts.
The more painful it gets. Yep.
Yes. Um, and yeah, I'm experiencing that right now, like like, okay, now you have to go even deeper than what you have already. Like, you wanted to just go deep, but not too deep. Well, let me have you go deeper. And it's uncomfortable. It comes like I was just sharing with you like 3 days ago. I I was crying. I was like, why is this shit happening to me? Like this is really fucking not fun. Um, but it's a way of the universe telling me you can do it, and I want you to prove yourself that you really want this, that you're really prepared for what you want. That's how I see it. Um, After kind of analyzing the whole situation, It's like, let's go deep. Let's see how much you want it. Let's see how I feel that these situations just come to our lives to bring us to that acknowledgement, okay, of understanding who I am, where I'm at, where I want to get, and if I'm ready to be there. Because sometimes we want things that we're not ready for.
Ooh, that's strong.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Sometimes we want things that we're not ready for. And if I can't manage being without internet for,
A little curveball that
for a month and a half, yeah, everyone, I'm without internet for about a month and a half now, because they're fixing the towers where I live. And it has been quite a challenge. And it has made me question, am I on the right path? Am I supposed to continue? Or is this trying to tell me to stop? Then I start doubting myself. I start doubting the results that I'm seeing in my business, in the podcast, in my life of creating. I start I started doubting myself. And then I was just like, wait a minute. No, I am 100%. Everything is going right. I am on the right direction because our numbers are showing me, because every day I get more and more clients, because I am connecting with beautiful people like the person that I interviewed last week. Then I started realizing all of the things that I'm doing. And I was like, no, this is just a test to prove me. And I am ready. And it's like, and I'm gonna keep going. If I have to go to the cafe, if I have to do the podcast in my car, if I have to do whatever I need to do, I don't give a fuck, but I'm going to get the result I want. And sometimes could be um a very easy way to say, I could easily say, you know what, Aida, I don't have internet, so we're not gonna do the podcast for until I get my internet back. You know what? I could have said to my last week's interview, you know what? I don't have internet, so I'm not gonna interview. And
right.
I could have just not gone. I could easily tell my clients I won't see you until a month and a half. But no, like I'm not gonna stop for these external situations. And all of that is external. And all it counts is, what am I doing within? Am I prepared for it? And am I prepared to go over these challenges that life it's presenting itself to me? And how much do I want the result that I'm saying I want?
Exactly.
Right? And I think that's where we have seen a lot of people um kind of unvanish or vanish away, where they're just like,
Hmm.
oh, well, I don't see what you guys are seeing. And it's like, well, you're not seeing it because you're not willing to go deeper, and you don't want it to hurt. And I mean, even for you, Aida, was that process of being in that depression and then coming out of it, I'm sure it hurt, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was a
Sure,
lot
you
of
had
work.
to,
And
yeah, to do a lot of work and um a lot of things that probably you didn't even think that were going to happen, right?
hmm yeah. And it, I mean, it took months of a lot of work, and I'm still working through it. I mean, it's an ongoing process, like we've
Mm.
mentioned, on other episodes. And but now it has become a way of life. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, no, I'm not gonna be tagged with that depression thing,
Mhm.
And now, I've made a lot of progress, but it's all due to that work,
Right.
all that introspection, all that knowing myself. Like the more I know about myself, the better I understand, like I've also said, how I react, the way I react, why. know, why I'm reacting the way I'm reacting or acting, or why am I taking things a certain way, or how I'm tackling certain things a certain way. I mean, it's just a lot of knowing myself that has taken me over that depression hump.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure you had to also face yourself at a certain point, like you had to confront yourself and say, this is not gonna be stronger than me, you know?
Totally. Totally. I was sharing before I started, well, before we started talking today, I was doing a session and we were talking about insecurities, and I'm like, you know what? I'm I still consider myself insecure in a lot of aspects of my life. And one of them is public speaking. Yet here I am.
Mhm.
You know, I'm but you know what? It's just a matter of like just doing it that I'm gonna get over it, and it's uncomfortable, but I enjoy the process. I'm enjoying the process. I mean, I do it and I'm doing this and I'm trying not to pay attention to that little voice. You're doing this, you're doing that, da da da, you're mumbling, you're not being clear enough. You're, like all this is like, phew, go away, pa, 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 pa. Let me
Mhm.
enjoy myself. And those are the one of the huge changes that I've learned to mm,
Manage.
manage. And well, yeah, I think managing is the right word. Not to get stuck by that insecurity, and just actually do something about it
Right.
just by
And
doing.
I think one important thing to bring up is we're not saying ignore the signs or don't if don't feel like you have to be super strong and not show your emotions. No, like I mentioned earlier, I cried for 2 days. I was just like so desperate, so mad about the whole situation that I cried. I was like, I need to cry and I'm gonna cry. I don't care if I look or if I sound like a little girl who just wants her way and who just wants the fucking internet back.
Seriously.
Like, no, it's just like I need to get all of this anger, frustration, um, and whatever it is that I was feeling, right? I need to get it out. And if crying is what's gonna help me to get it out, I'm gonna do it. So, and I think in your end as well, when you mentioned, you had to go through a process and you had to take out all of those emotions. Take them out. Don't just leave them in there. It's part of the
Mm-mm.
process, right?
Exactly. It's not like a cocoa wash, like we've talked, we're not brainwashing ourselves here. No, it's actually taking responsibility. And I think that's something we've also addressed, like taking responsibility of my own actions, of what took me to this point or to that point. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, maybe I haven't made, the right decisions, but now I'm ready to make something with that, something
Mhm.
about that, and do something with it.
Right, right.
Living like 20 years depressed is not fun.
Mhm.
That's the way I looked at it. Okay, going, 20 years, 20 plus years depressed wasn't fun. I mean, going through like a few months of being uncomfortable and going within cannot hurt more than being depressed for over 20 years.
Yeah. And sometimes we prefer to live a life with pain rather than confront the pain and get past through it. And
Yep.
that's exactly what we were also talking about before we record, I where I was just sharing, like certain people are like just I can see that they're living an unhappy life, but they tell me like, okay, well, you're crazy for doing this. Yeah, I rather be on the ups and downs for this 5 years of my company going up and me building the kind of life that I want I rather go through this ups and downs and this pain for 5 years than to live a life of pain. And I think that's where we get it so confused because we're so accustomed to society, our parents, or other people telling us, well, this is how life it should be. But what if life is not like that for me? Are you telling me I'm supposed to live a life like that just because that's how everyone else lives their life? Their life in what I want. It's out of the norm. I can't do it because it's not something that has been seen before in our family or in our circles,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So that's also another thing to consider, right? Like,
Yeah, totally. For example, like last year, I went through like a huge process. Excuse me. And a lot of people was like, oh, well, we see you and we think, everything's like so perfect with you. I'm like, no. I went through a lot last year. I was unemployed for over a year. I was going through family issues, with an illness in the family. I was going through a lot, a
mhm,
lot. But all this, integrating all this information, magic is really what got me through it without going like, I was still a little cuckoo, but but in a good way, in my own way. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I go through ups and downs, but I don't let it define me.
mhm,
I don't let it define me. And if I'm going downhill, it's like, okay, why am I allowing myself to go downhill? It's like, okay, snap out of it. I mean, let's see what truly is triggering that.
yeah,
And I do a lot of introspection, a lot, because I know what it feels like to be like to hit rock bottom. I don't want to get there anymore.
totally.
So I tackle things as they show up. That's why I'm always like, paying attention to all the signs. Is like, okay, because I know that if I am in full awareness of what is being presented to me, um, I can tackle things as I go rather than just waiting to hit rock bottom.
Mhm, definitely.
I don't
Yeah.
even know why I brought this up. I know I had a point, but why did
No,
I?
I think everything that we're sharing right now has a point. Because sometimes it's like, okay, the magical calling, and people tend to think, okay, it's such a magical path. No, there's a lot of curves, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of unexpected turns and setbacks. And yes, magic came to my life in a magical way, and it has been magical because I have also made the decision to make it magical, to see, to have the decision to see how am I going to see this as a test or as an obstacle. The other gives us a great example of the Sphinx, right? When we become when when one of them comes our way in our path, are we gonna stop ourselves and go back, or are we gonna confront it and get right through it?
Mhm.
And it's a decision that we make every day. Every day.
Every day.
Yes, every day. Because every day we make decisions. Every day I wake up and I make the decision if I'm gonna make if I'm gonna make a great day out of this day, or if I'm gonna let anything come my way throw me off, right? And I feel that we're so accustomed to let everything discourage us, throw us off, and kind of how do you say, like, go out of our way, um, to what our goal is.
Just kind of like distract us from.
Right. Yeah. And if
And
you think, oh, I'm sorry.
no, no, no. I was gonna say that if maybe if we're allowing something to get us off track, maybe we didn't want it as bad as we thought we did to begin with.
Right. Right, because if you think about it, the big stories like Steve Jobs, for example, um, everyone was just kind of like, "You're crazy, dude. Nothing is gonna fit into those little computers that you want to build." Like everything was impossible for the rest, but he wanted it so bad that he made it possible, right? So it's I have the power to make the impossible possible if I really want it.
Mm-hmm.
If I really want that, I'm gonna make the impossible possible.
Because you'll
And
figure it out, you'll find a way
right. And
to
every
make it
day I
happen.
remind myself that. Today, I'm gonna make the impossible possible for me. Period. I don't know how, neither do I care how. It's just going to happen. Um, and I think sometimes my parents are like, "Wow, like what did we do with this child?"
Where did we go wrong? My goodness.
Because I have told them this, like my dad sometimes he's just like, "No, Angelus, that's not how it is." And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna make the impossible possible." And he's just like, "Okay, here we go." Here we go
Oh
again.
my gosh. This boy.
Um, Now he doesn't say anything to me. I think before he was just more like you're crazy, but now he's like, let her make the impossible
It's like,
possible.
okay, she's into something. So,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. Um,
that's good.
but I think we have to have that attitude with our desires, with what we want for ourselves and our lives.
Exactly. Exactly. And I don't know if it's drive, if it's desire, if it's determination, or if it's a mix of all,
I think it's a mix of all.
and at the end of the day, no one's gonna live our lives for us.
Exactly. Exactly. And we get lost fulfilling others' expectations rather than ours.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic for another episode. Write it down before we forget. Yeah, I mean, no, 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 no. That's a whole other baggage that a lot of times holds us back on going towards what we truly desire.
Right, we're so worried about what others are gonna say or think that we just kind of forget about what we think and say about our own lives, right?
Yeah, that's not me anymore, though. Is it
Yeah,
you?
no, definitely.
You're like, no.
Definitely. I think it's very clear to everyone around me that um it's not me anymore. You know, I have always been like that. I have always been very careless of what others think of me, except for my parents. My parents were those people who I was like, "Oh my gosh, like if my parents think I'm failing, then I'm failing." Now, now that I have been working on this with Edit, um, it's like even if my parents think I'm failing, that's their own expectations, their own problem, not mine.
That's their perception, that's their perspective.
Mhm,
That's what because they're used to seeing things, a certain way. And this is I mean, you're completely out of their spectrum,
mhm,
of how things should be done.
mhm,
So that's why
exactly.
they get worried and they're like, "Oh, what is she doing?" But yeah, and at this point it's up to them the to trust the work they did with you by raising you
Yeah,
and to trust you.
yeah, definitely. So what would be the invitation, Aida?
The invitation here is, let me think.
Because I love it when you tell us all the time, "Okay, so let me invite you to
Let
go
me
live
invite
in."
you to have a couple brewskis, couple beers, to open up a couple beers, and just be honest with yourself. How open are you to something completely unknown? As it was for me, magic, at that point. Yeah, if you're open to something completely unknown and to hear information that may not be as logical at first, m- but somehow makes sense. Just that. How open are you to it? And if so, what kind of topics would you be open to listening or to explore and to impact which aspects of your life? And then you can share with us in the comments.
Yeah, because sometimes we tend to close ourselves when we don't know about certain things, right? We're
Mhm.
not willing to open up and say, "Okay, let me see what's in there."
Yeah.
We're scared to go and explore the unknown. And sometimes, or most of the time, I want to say that it's on the unknown that we find ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that's so beautiful, Aida. Thank you.
I like the first part better, where I invite them, to open up a couple brewskis. And that's my preconscious speaking right now.
I think it's always the best. I mean, I always tend to have a glass of wine while I'm like going through all of this introspection and questioning and writing. Like I usually have a glass of wine with me and just kind of question myself and have a conversation with myself. I don't know if everybody does this, but I usually have a lot of
Oh
conversations
my
with
God. I talk
myself.
to myself all the time.
I'm like, why are you thinking this? Like I question myself a lot. Like I tend to pretend like there's another angel is outside of me, like questioning me and just kind of mm, talking to me. So I have a lot of conversations with myself. And I think that has helped me also a lot through the process. So
Good. So would you invite others to talk to their other selves?
definitely, definitely open a bottle of wine and just kind of be very true and honest with yourself. Talk to yourself and make notes and see what you can work on and what's working and what's not working and what you can change and what are those aspects of yourself that also you can keep because there are aspects of ourselves that have been working, and
Mhm.
and it's good to keep them. It's good to embrace those and just say, okay, this is a part of me that I really like. Um, Not everything we have to change. So
And highlights the ones that you are actually willing to change. Because you might want it, but you're not willing to do the work. So that's a whole other sub list,
yes, yes,
another category. And actually, get right on it. That's
yeah.
it. Well,
No, no.
thanks so much, Angeles. I think this was a cute little episode. I liked it. Thank you so much.
Yes, me too. Me too. I really liked it. I think I enjoy recording out the car a lot.
Thanks for finding the time and place
Exactly.
to actually record this and without having like actually being at home and having your Wi-Fi and all that stuff. And that's a great example of like crossing that sphinx
Yeah.
that has been around lately. But you're like, oh hell no, this is not stopping me. I'm recording in the car, even if I look like I'm actually stalking someone, like physically stalking someone.
Exactly. Yeah, I am very as you just mentioned earlier, like I'm very determined of when I want something, when I need to get something done, when I am there and I'm gonna get it done. I don't know how, neither do I care, but I'm gonna get it done. So yeah, I'm very determined.
Her legs are numbed from holding the laptop. on her lap, but she's there. She pulled it off like a chimp. Awesome.
Oh,
Well,
thanks.
thanks so much, and thank you guys for listening. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yes. Leave us on the comments what you think. What have you enjoyed of this episode the most? We'd love to hear it from you
And
guys.
share your stories too
Yes, share
of
your
how,
story.
yeah, of how you got here to this
Yes.
episode, and your magical journeys too. Could be on magic, could be on anything else that has actually made a big impact in your life. That'd be awesome too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have a nice week.